Welcome back to another episode of Downloadable Content. We are SJ.
And Alex Herschel. And today we're going to yap at you a little bit.
Let's get right into it. So, I have a lot of updates. Should I start?
Yes, but I actually had an audience question that came to my mind just a few minutes ago. Not
Okay.
one that was asked by our actual audience, but one that I just kind of wanted to open up with and get your thoughts on. Is there anything that is an instant disappointment for you in video games? Like you're really excited about something and then you find out some detail about a game and it's just like automatically like any sense of excitement is snatched away.
Uh-huh.
Would you like to share?
Yeah. It's like, no.
Maybe one
No.
or two.
No, I don't want to talk about it. It's when, like, a month before the game launches, they announce that only certain parts or features of the game are going to be released, and then the rest will be postponed until the end of the year or whatever. And they do this pseudo beta version launching, patching post launch nonsense. Absolutely kills all of the hype.
Dang.
How about you?
For me, it's when a game gets announced that it's going to be an MMO. Like if I see a trailer or a concept, there's one for a game called Soulframe, and I had no idea what this was. I'd never heard of the studio. Got really, really excited, but like not excited enough to actually do any deeper research into it. And then thought about it a couple days ago and looked it up and realized that it comes from an MMO studio. They already have like an MMO in this series of games, and they're just releasing a new one. And I was really, really disappointed because I was really looking forward to it. But I have absolutely no interest in playing an MMO ever. So
what about MMOs repel you so much?
I think it's that MMOs want to be the only game that you'll ever play. I don't like the idea of a game that will never ever end. I guess that's not entirely fair because like stuff like Mario Kart or Smash Brothers are like that doesn't have an end. But I think it's also like a lot of MMOs. If someone plays an MMO, like that's like let's underestimate and say like 80% of what they play.
They're not really playing a lot of other
And
games.
80% of all their free time goes into this one specific hobby. And because of that, like the gameplay loop is just kind of uninteresting. And so yeah, really, really kills my hype personally, which and I'm sure there's some great MMOs out there. It just isn't something that I ever like really feel like, oh, I want to try that. I just don't get that.
Well, this isn't much of a gaming update, but more of a news update, and I wanted to have a discussion about it.
Okay.
Star Fox.
Uh-huh.
So by now, if you haven't watched it, just before you proceed and listen to us yap about this, you can if you want, but I would recommend just go to YouTube, search Star Fox Nintendo Switch trailer. Long story short, they are remaking Star Fox 64, essentially, and with a fresh coat of paint and really fresh coat of paint, depending on how you look at it, or furry coat of paint, and adding certain features. And yeah. What were your first impressions? Are you hyped for this? Are you indifferent?
So I think I was really excited at first, but a lot of my excitement came from me not having all the information. So when in our Discord, I think it was Jordan who dropped the link to it and said that he was watching it when it was happening.
Yes, he did.
He dropped it, and I was standing in line at Disneyland waiting to ride a ride, and we were still early on in the queue, so I was like, yeah, I got time to watch this, especially if it's only 15 minutes. Like I can just watch this while I'm in line. So I pulled up my phone and watched it. So by the time that I was in, they were already showing gameplay from this new version. And I didn't realize that it was a Star Fox 64 remake. I thought this was an all new game, and I was like, "Oh wow, this is pretty cool. It's pretty cool. I like Star Fox. I like Star Fox's gunfights. That's great, and it's new, and it looks like they've put a good amount of time into it. It's not something that they just are pushing out for no reason. Because as much as like the people who want a new Star Fox game are a vocal minority, but they're very much a minority, right? Like I don't think it's crazy demanded.
It's a little niche right now, yeah.
So I was pretty excited, and then I found out that it was a Star Fox 64 remake, and a lot of that excitement dissipated, just because it's like it seems like you're putting a lot of effort and basically rebuilding from the ground up, but are rebuilding something that we already have like a lot of access to, and like there are games that I think deserve from the ground remakes, and I think it makes sense because of legacy or impact or what you could do. But I don't know if what they're pursuing with this remake like really required it, if that makes any sense. Like it just seems kind of an update for it, right? Trying to bring it in as new, but I don't think the new features justify as much excitement as I originally had for me personally, if that makes any sense.
Totally.
But
I think the it really wasn't clear about what it really was. Like as the announcement was unfolding. Like when you're watching it, it's not very clear that, oh, hey, this is a remake of the N64 one. And the N64 one is also arguably a remake of the, what was it, like the SNES one? Right. So I
just only made one game.
Yeah. Yeah, there's only really one good one.
I know there's Star Fox Adventure on the GameCube, and some people love it, but like, it's just this one game over and over again.
Hey, don't forget about Star Fox Assault, man. Star Fox Assault. I actually really, really enjoyed that game. But yes, it's the same story being retold over and over and over. So I think the disappointment is completely valid. And that was also kind of my initial reaction. I was like, oh, they're putting in all this work and it's just Star Fox 64 with added features and basically multiplayer, and you can use a camera and be a furry in the NSO game chat, which, to be fair, it looked good. It's pretty cool. Like I don't mind. It's right. Like it's a nice to have. I think for people that have you played the N64 one? Okay, it's a banger, right? Also the soundtrack for that game, awesome. Oh my gosh, too. Just as I was like listening to it, I was like, holy crap, like I can barely pay attention to what's happening on screen because the music is so freaking good. I think though, when you really put it into perspective, not a lot of people have played that game. Or what I should say is there are a lot of people on the planet now that were like a newborn or not even born when the N64 one came out, or even the 3DS one, right? That one is over a decade old at this point. I don't know exactly how many years. So this is introducing, I think, a new generation to Star Fox, and I appreciate that they're trying to do that. And the last game that they made was Star Fox Zero, and it was a flop. It was really bad. Terrible controls. I haven't personally played it, but I've watched a lot of reviews and gameplay on it. Just bad game. Not good. There are a few people that are like die-hard defenders of it, but I don't really agree with it. So like whenever they've like the last time they steered away from the tried and true story and formula of Star Fox, which goes back to Star Fox 64 and the SNES, or the NES, I can't remember which. It hasn't really done very well. I don't know how well Star Fox Adventure did or Assault. I'm not sure. I I there's a special place in my heart for both of those games on the GameCube, but so I understand why it's the Star Fox 64, that same story that's being retold, because it's introducing new people to it, right? They introduced Fox to a whole bunch of kids that only probably knew him from Super Smash Brothers and the Galaxy movie, and then now it's like, here you go. He's super hyper realistic
Yeah.
and very animal looking, and you know, here you go. So
Mhm.
I I think both things are true in that people are disappointed. I'm also a little bit disappointed. I'm not sure if I'm gonna buy it or not. Um, I think the price that they're setting it at is quite reasonable. Which, do you remember how much it was? Was it $50 for digital and 60 for physical
I
or
think so.
something like that? I think it's fairly reasonable. It's technically not a full price like $70 game. Um, and they are doing a lot to it. I think for me though, uh, the disappointing part was like they have this multiplayer thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's cool that you can do like game share with it and you know, but they had that multiplayer thing on the N64 too, didn't they? You could split screen locally
Mm-hmm.
and dogfight and stuff. And it's at least from what I saw in the reveal and what I remember of the N64 version too, like the dogfights, it's very limited. Like you're not in like a massive city where you can fly around and do all this stuff. Like it's a pretty small arena. At least that's how it was in the N64, and how it looked in the reveal was that it's also kind of like that. It's not something I don't think that's gonna age very well, or people are going to keep coming back to play over and over, right? Like the main meat and potatoes of the game is still going to be playing through the campaign, doing the score attacks, right? Like unlocking the different paths and replaying that campaign over and over and over. And just for those of you that haven't played Star Fox 64 and you're considering buying this game, just so you know, the main campaign from start to finish, it does not take very long. Like less than 10 hours.
Easily.
100%. Maybe within 5 even actually.
There's
Uh,
like you can definitely do it in a single sitting, and it doesn't
yeah.
feel like you're playing for forever. It's not
Yeah.
crazy
So
long.
just so you know, that's how the game is structured, and it's intended for you to play the campaign over and over to get higher scores and to unlock different paths that unlock, different routes and levels and stuff. Um so anyway,
Yeah, I
yeah.
think I think for me it's really good. Like if this was something that was like relatively easy for them to do, right? Because they have the pre-existing game, and it really is kind of just like a fresh coat of paint and then adding stuff on. Then I think it makes sense. But depending on how much time and like dedicated work this took, it is just kind of an interesting choice. And I think I'm with you, like, because I've experienced it on the N64 and on the 3DS, like, there's not a push to buy the new version. Which is sad because Star Fox is definitely one of the franchises that you'd love to see more from, and especially with where consoles currently are. Like, I remember thinking back when Breath of the Wild and Mario Odyssey and then Tears of the Kingdom a couple years later came out, where it's like if every franchise got this treatment of just like maximizing the potential up to that point based off of the system's capabilities, that would be awesome, right? And we got that a little bit with Smash, we got that with Mario Kart, depending on who you ask. Um, but these other franchises, like this doesn't feel to me like you're pushing the boundaries of what Star Fox can be, right? It just feels and that's okay if they
It
didn't want to do that, if they didn't have the employees or they didn't think there was the interest that would make it financially worth it. That's fine. Um,
it's safer. Yeah.
yeah, so it's
It's a
just kind
safer
of like
move.
I hope it does well, and maybe it'll be like a spontaneous purchase at some point in the future, but right now I just don't really see it being that.
I could see myself buying it. I haven't played it in a long time. It actually, like, watching the trailer made me want to play the 3DS one, actually, because it's like I have that right now.
Nice.
But so the graphics, it's controversial in terms of the character design. But before I talk about that, I think the presentation of the game, how it looks, the effects, the models, everything. And I just think it looks immaculate.
It
It
does look
looks
very good.
so good.
It does.
And it really is this is going to be the definitive way to play through that story, which I think is pretty exciting. How do you feel about the character designs?
I don't mind most of them. I think Peppy looks great. I think Slippy looks great. And I'd even argue that Falco and Fox look all right. Like I don't think they look bad. It was interesting to me that the only one that really felt cartoonish was when they showed Pigma. I feel like Pigma looks very out of place compared to the other models.
Yeah.
Because the others are, a bit more based in realism in a way. But no, I think it's fine. And frankly, like, because most of my memories are associated with the N64 version, like I can't be like, hey, this doesn't look like that anymore. It's like Falco was like 3 triangles and a beak. Like that's what Falco's head looked like.
Yeah.
So
the main thing I kept hearing was that people wanted Fox to look like he did in the Galaxy movie.
Have you seen the Galaxy movie yet?
I haven't yet.
Okay.
But
I went and saw it, but
okay,
we should talk about it when you get a chance.
It's coming in the mail. I pre-ordered and bought the movie, so
nice.
I'll be watching it when it comes in the mail within the next month or so.
Nice.
But
he does look good in the movie. He does.
Yeah, but I felt the same. Like I don't think it looks bad. I think it's just different. It's just a totally different art direction.
Yeah.
I was surprised though, because Nintendo doesn't usually do the hyper realistic stuff. It's the kind of style that I would expect from a random YouTube drop, Unreal Engine 5. Oh, look at what it could be kind of situation.
And I think it's actually kind of fair for people to be like confused about it, because when it came to Donkey Kong, they very much just followed the movie, where the first Mario movie came out, and then for Mario Kart World and for Donkey Kong Bonanza, they definitely made the model look more like what they used in the movie than what they had been using in the past.
That's a good point, yeah.
I think it's completely fair to be a little whiplashed from that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm not. I think it'll be okay. I think people, once the initial reveal kind of like wanes out and people just kind of sit with it for a while, I don't think people will have much room to be upset, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So.
All right. Do you want to talk about your thing?
Yeah, so we're going to break up SJ's sections by me telling you about Pokemon Nuzlockes, because I've got quite a few runs, and we'll just go run by run and kind of split it up that way, so it's kind of edging back and forth. Our lovely Patreon listeners will know that Nuzlockes have been on my mind recently, because Platinum Kaizo, a new entry in a series of incredibly difficult Pokemon ROM hacks, came out, and a lot of streamers have been playing through it, and it's been fun to watch them go through it. It's also springtime, which means that I have the innate desire to play through these Sinnoh Pokemon games. Every single year it happens. And so I told SJ, I messaged him and I said, so I'm going to do a Platinum Nuzlocke. For those of you who have listened for a while, you'll know that my history with Nuzlockes is not a long line, but a clear line of disappointment. My first Pokemon Nuzlocke was in Pokemon Shield, which I chose because it was supposed to be really, really easy. And it was for most of the game, until I got to the end and just didn't have a good counter for Steel types in a boss fight that only uses Steel types. And I wiped, and it was really disappointing. And these people who do Nuzlockes on YouTube, like, they don't care. They just reset and run it again. I'm like,
it's insane.
If I get to the end of the game and don't make it, like, that's it.
Yeah.
more on that in a bit. But I went ahead and decided, okay, I'm going to do platinum nuzlocking. From a from the Nuzlocke community's perspective, as far as vanilla games, platinum is on the harder end of the series. Um, Mainly just for a few fights, but most of the game is fairly manageable. Which is what I kind of observed. I went along, did my thing. My nickname theme for that run was restaurants. So every single one of my Pokemon were named after a restaurant. And it was great. Had a great time. And this one was actually a success. Um, I I've never EV trained a Pokemon before, but I EV trained half of my team for the Elite Four just to make sure that I would outspeed Cynthia's Garchomp. Um, but no, man, it was awesome. Like a couple really unfortunate losses early on, but recovered. And um, after that final run through the Elite Four, I still had 3 of my Mons alive. My starter made it all the way through. And it was great.
This is your first Nuzlocke success, right?
It was my first Nuzlocke success.
Congratulations.
I had made another attempt last year at Shining Pearl and lost at the rival fight that happens right before you enter the Elite Four.
Mm-hmm.
So similar to Shield, lost it very near the end and was really upset and just said, "No, I'm not rerunning this. This is not fun."
So I have a question about EV training because it sounds like hell.
Mm-hmm.
How do you tackle that?
So the developers, I've realized, are actually very good at coming up with an area where like 90% of the Pokemon that will appear will give you EVs only in one specific type.
Really?
At least in Platinum, and I did it again for Emerald, which we'll talk about in a bit. But there's a route or a location in every game for each of the stats that'll give you like a very high chance of getting it. So, like in Platinum, there's a town, or the town that has the daycare in it. Just north of that is a large patch of grass that'll only give you Speed IV Pokemon, with like a 10% chance to get HP Pokemon. But anyway, so you just find those spots and do it, and make sure that your Pokemon are like a good 15 to 20 levels above them, which at most points will be fine, because if you're catching Pokemon near the end of the game, they're going to be way over leveled compared to what you had before. And then you just go in and do it, man. You just snatch them up.
How do you know when you've maxed out?
So I was using damage calculators. So I had my game running, had the calculator, go up, see it come up. Oh, it's Ponyta. Click the attack while the animation is going. Switch over to this. Type in the 1 EV. For the speed stat, rinse and repeat. You can only have a maximum of 252 EVs in a specific stat. So I would just go until I got to 252 and then said, okay, I'm good to go.
Dang. So you were counting them one by one.
One by one.
But what about the battles leading up to it? Are you also counting the EVs of all Pokemon that every single Pokemon defeats?
So I did do that, but I didn't do it specifically for the Pokemon that I was EV training, if that makes sense. So like my starter, right? Like I tracked his EVs throughout the entire thing, but I wasn't like early on in the game, like EV training isn't a viable option.
It's too risky.
Because you'll pass the level cap way quickly. And also if you're like in a fight and you're like, oh, but I don't want to use this Pokemon because it's going to give him an EV that I don't want him to have. I'd rather use it for a different stat. But like that's the optimal play. Like you gotta go with that first, right? Yeah. But when your last 3 or 4 encounters are Pokemon that you want to use in the Elite Four and you haven't used them for any other battles, you can just catch them, fly to wherever you want to go, EV train them up, and then continue on with the battles.
I see.
And generally, depending on how low level they are, how level the Pokemon you're fighting are, you'll only gain like 5 or 6 levels. So you still have plenty of XP room to work with so that you can get through the fights that you still have to without over leveling and then making them unusable.
When you catch Pokemon, are you looking at, actually, never mind. I just answered my own question. I was going to say, do you pay attention to IVs? But so you don't really have an option when it comes to a Nuzlocke because you just got to pick.
Right. You do just have to go with the one that you catch. But that is something where like if you catch them right away before there are any EVs, Depending on the level, you can get a pretty decent look at it. And if you're tracking like when I was training my Garchomp, for example, right? Like if the stat is a certain number, there's usually the IV range of like 5 values, like 11 through 15 or something, right? That'll equate to that current stat output. And you can kind of narrow that down as you see the level ups come in and check the stats and be like, oh, okay, the range that I have below is actually a little bit too high. We got to lower it a little bit and kind of get that point. But yeah, there just wasn't a whole lot of choice either because you have to go with whatever you roll. And I will say, I had awful luck with natures on that run. I had like the most, like I had a minus attack Turtwig, which is just
Oh
awful.
no.
It's just awful. And when you it's actually fairly manageable. It matters a lot more for like early game stuff. And especially when you're not playing for like competitive leagues and you're just playing through the vanilla game. It isn't always an issue. Like you can definitely overcome it fairly easily.
Yeah.
But I would either have neutrals or disadvantageous natures for a lot of my Pokemon. The only Pokemon that I had a good nature on was my Garchomp, but it's okay.
Garchomp, you'd want adamant, right?
Yeah, whatever the one.
Plus attack minus special attack.
Yeah.
Dang, man. Well, congrats on your first win.
Success.
That's a huge milestone. I still have not successfully completed Nuzlocke.
But you only attempted the one Soul Link, right?
I only did a Soul Link, which
and
is
a randomized Soul Link.
Randomized
so like,
Soul Link, one of the hardest
odds were against you, man.
I went straight for Mount Everest there. Yeah. Dang, man.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, speaking of randomizers, actually, I have played and finished a game.
Oh man!
That Ocarina of Time.
Mm-hmm.
Ocarina of Time randomizer.
Mm-hmm.
So I've known that the Ocarina of Time randomizer was a thing, but I didn't realize that the resources to create your own randomizer were so robust until I looked into it. I had the idea to do it because I watched a YouTuber I'm trying to remember the name so I can give him a shout out. Linkus. Linkus. He did a randomizer run, and it was very entertaining to watch. And I'm like, you know what? I want to play Ocarina of Time. I haven't played that game in a while, and I want to freaking randomize it. So you go to this website, you upload the original game file, which I already had, and you pick. There are so many things that you can randomize and choose. So like, obviously, the main default setting is that like all items that you get from chests and all key item, like every situation where you would obtain a key item, like getting one from a character or as a reward for a mini game, or there are a few Deku scrubs that sell you pieces of heart for like 40 rupees or something. All of those get completely shuffled, and but you have a few different options to tweak your experience. One of those is in dungeons, you have small keys that are specific to each dungeon, right? And you can choose to have all of the small keys for all dungeons completely shuffled, or you can say, "Oh, I want the items within each dungeon and the small keys all shuffled, but I want all the small keys per dungeon to be contained within each dungeon so that, you're not having to dungeon hop as much to complete all of the dungeons, right? So that's basically the route that I went, is like I didn't want to have to find a water temple small key inside of the spirit temple, right? So that's the route that I went. And yeah, it gives you a whole bunch of other customizing options too. Like you can change Link's tunic color, you can swap around some of the audio, you can make it all goofy if you want. If you really want to go hardcore, you can literally shuffle every single thing in the game, including loading zones, can all be shuffled. all of the items that are just lying on the ground, that you just pick up, those can get shuffled with key items, all this stuff. Anyway, I curated my personal experience. I patched the game file, played it. I loved it. I loved it so much because I've played Ocarina of Time. That's probably like the one single player just campaign game that I've played more than any other game. And it was so cool to replay that and have that experience again, but have it be fresh. It felt fresh because I'm doing something and I become an adult and I finished the forest temple because I had the hook shot early. I actually already had the long shot, but then I'm like, crap, I can't do the fire temple because I don't have the Goron's tunic. I don't have, and I don't have the iron boots. So I can't do the water temple. So like I'm thinking of what do I need to do next? What have I not checked, right? So I'm going to like the little grottos, the little holes across Hyrule Field, checking them, checking those chests cuz I might find the Goron tunic in one of those. And then I realized like, oh, you know what? I actually already have the Nocturne of Shadow, so I can actually do the Shadow Temple. Or no, the Spirit Temple. I can't remember the name of the song for that one. Because I already had the long shot and I had what I needed to finish that. So I did the Forest Temple and then I did the Shadow Temple and then all these things were out of whack and I completed the game more than I normally do. I probably finished 99% of the game because like I never want to leave a dungeon without checking every single chest
Right.
because one of those chests could have a key item that would otherwise block me from finishing something else later on. So there were even like parts of certain dungeons that I forgot were even there or didn't even realize were there because I normally don't bother with Pierre, right? But I need Pierre to get certain chests and places, and so like I explored the game more than I ever have before, and it was wonderful.
No, that sounds awesome, man. Um, like within as you're setting up your randomized egg, is there like um the reality that like is it possible to like hard lock yourself out of being able to complete a certain randomized set? Like say a Goron tunic, right? Or one of those items that's required to enter one of the adult temples is locked in Ganon's castle, right? Like what do you do? Like you play through to the end and then realize, oh well, I've checked absolutely everything and I'm just kind of out of luck. I gotta start a new
That
randomized
actually,
egg,
that
or
exact thing you just as described happened to me. I didn't find the Goron tunic until one of the chests in Ganon's castle. But here's the thing: there's a logic to the game, and the game knows, or the randomizer rather knows what you can and can't complete with certain key items. So you will never be soft locked out of being able to finish the game. There's always something you can do that you're forgetting. And one of the beautiful things about it is after you spit out the patched game and you download it, you can also download a cheat sheet. It's just a text file that tells you where every single key song, item, everything is.
within your individualized.
Mm-hmm. So if you get frustrated, you can just control F and find out where it is and do what you need to do to get there. But what was interesting, my Goron tunic, I didn't use the cheat sheet for this, so I didn't know until I was like getting close to finishing the game. But I could not find the Goron tunic anywhere. Same thing with the Zora tunic. I could not find it anywhere. But I had to do those dungeons to you know complete the game. But in one there was one specific, it was like a mini game or something. I got the adult wallet, which allowed me to have uh up to 200 rupees.
Mm-hmm.
And that allowed me to purchase the Goron tunic. Because the Goron tunic, you usually get it, for from the little Goron that's running around in Goron City. You bomb him and then he gives you the Goron tunic. But he didn't give me that. Another option that you can get the ground tunic is you can just purchase it from the shop. But usually it's too expensive for you to buy because you can only hold, I think it's like 99 rupees unless you have the adult wallet. But so the way that the randomizer expected me to finish the game was to get the adult wallet, have 200 rupees, purchase it from the shop because I didn't randomize the shop items. That's another thing you can randomize if you want, but I didn't want the run to get like crazy expensive or anything. And then I had to finish the fire temple that way. And then I think it's the Zora tunic that's actually 300 rupees. But before I had to get the Zora tunic, I got access to the Giant's wallet, which allowed me to have 500 rupees, so I could afford the 300 rupee Zora tunic. Gotcha. So there's a logic to it, and so if you get frustrated or stuck or anything, there's no shame in referring to the cheat sheet. I referred to it twice during my run, but for the most part, it was mostly blind. I could figure most things out, and yeah, it's interesting because there's one of the temples, I can't remember which. I think it was the fire temple. I had to defeat the boss Vavagia to get a small key so that I could enter one specific area that had a small chest in it so that I could open it up. So sometimes you do certain things backwards, right? Because you can get the boss key from a small chest at the beginning of the temple too.
Right.
So it was a lot of fun.
That's awesome, man. As a card carrying, not a card carrying, just kidding. As someone who has the opinions about Ocarina of Time that I do find it interesting that I'm kind of jonesing to play it. Like,
really?
I think I'd have, yeah. I think it would be fun. I am holding out for the announcement that's supposed to be coming. It's supposed to be coming.
We hope.
And
we hope.
Liv was actually asking me about this the other day. She's like, I heard something about something coming out for Zelda's 40th anniversary that they were going to announce something. Is that real? I'm like, well, there's one rule when it comes to Zelda announcements. And until it's in a direct, it's not real. And whatever you hear is just the opinion of someone who's being really, really loud, because the amount of leaks and theories is insane. And 99% of them are wrong every single time. How many times have I heard the Twilight Princess Wind Waker's coming to the Switch? Yeah. It's never coming to the Switch. Just give up on it now. It's never happening. And then you can accept that life will be a little bit sadder for it. Anyway. No, that's awesome, man. I'm glad you had a great time. Yeah, sounds dope.
I've got one more thing to talk about, and then I think my final thing, I would like to talk about it for on the Patreon.
Okay.
So if you want to know everything I've got to say, check out our Patreon.
Before we do that, so after completing my quest to beat the Sinnoh League, I wasn't done with Nuzlockes. I wanted more. I was thinking to myself, I was like, what should I play next? And so I started playing Pokemon Emerald, which I've played through before, and had a good time with. I think I have some controversial or unpopular opinions about the Gen 3 games. But I was looking forward to it. I went through and met a horrible, horrible end at the hands of Norman. His slacking just steamrolled me, and I thought I had a really solid plan for it going in. But I didn't. Not really. And he absolutely wiped me.
What was your strat? Because like the ones that I see most is like dig or protect, right?
Dig and protect strats, right? So I didn't have access to either of those. So my plan was, I had a Pokemon that had Fake Out. So I would start there, which automatically gets you that first turn, and then would switch to a Ghost type, which I had luckily gotten access to. Which I low-key don't think I was supposed to. I don't think you're supposed to have that, but somehow had a Ghost type. And then
what was your Ghost type Pokemon?
It was a Sableye that I encountered around right after the fire gym.
Oh.
Um,
Oh yeah.
and then using that immunity, somehow find a way to get a status. I had a Pokemon that had Will-O-Wisp, so I could inflict a burn, and then just kind of keep pivoting, bring in that Pokemon that had Fake Out when I could to do a couple extra chip damage. But somewhere miscalculated and lost. It was basically there were 3 mons that had to constantly be switching and rotating in order to make it happen. And I misread something somewhere, and I think what happened was after he used his first potion to heal it up, um that messed up like how I was tracking whether the slacking was loafing around or had a turn to attack. And so I just
Oh
got off, and at that point that
shoot.
slacking was able to attack, and then, the Pokemons that I had left just didn't have the firepower to take it out before he could, absolutely wipe
Dang.
me. So it was unfortunate, but it didn't stop me because I restarted right away and went right back and kept going. And unfortunately, this run had a little bit more success, actually. I made it quite far. I lost my starter really early, which was really disappointing. I had a Mudkip, and I was really excited to use him. And I think I lost him on Roxanne off of back-to-back crits, which,
Oh.
you could definitely play around. I'm not saying that the game cheated me or anything. I'm not that type of Nuzlocker.
Unlucky.
But it was unlucky,
Yeah.
and it was still, in my mind, like the ideal play. There wasn't another way around it. So it was unfortunate, but I trudged my way through and, made it all the way to the Elite Four. There was one crucial loss that happened right before the Elite Four that really hurt my end results, and that was I lost a Sharpedo. It's actually a really good Pokemon.
Yeah, Sharpedo is
I
good.
have not, ever really used a Sharpedo on any of my other playthroughs before, but he was getting work done, and I lost him, and so I had to recalibrate my team and stuff. And I did make it all the way to Wallace. I made it all the way to Milotic, and I got really, really lucky right before the Elite Four. My last encounter of the game was a Bagon.
Oh,
There was a
no
75%
way.
chance that it would be a Soul Rock or a Lunatone, and then the 25% chance that it would be the Bagon in this very specific room. So I used my repels to make sure that I got to the one spot
Oh
where it had the
man.
25% chance. Got it, leveled it up, got it all the way to Salamence. But it wasn't enough. And his Milotic took me out. There was one particular play where I switched, where I should have just sacked the Mon that I was on, then done a little bit more chip damage, and then the Banette would have been able to lift the first hit from the Milotic, and do enough chip damage that the Salamence would have been able to come in and finish it off with just barely outspeeding it and living in the red. But it didn't happen, and I lost that run. And that was when I decided that I was done with Pokemon Emerald, because making it to the last fight of the game and losing not only on the last fight, but the last Mon, I took out every Mon except the Milotic. And I was just like, I don't want to replay this entire game.
Yeah, yeah.
Even with emulators or allegedly using emulators, and the fact that speed up exists and makes these games so much quicker, and the tedium of going through Nuzlocke so much more efficient.
Allegedly using it.
Allegedly using an emulator. It was really it I don't need to play through a Pokemon game twice. Which funnily enough will come up later.
But
But
that's cool though that you know that there was a line there, right?
there
You
was,
could
and
have.
I that one was 100% a misplay by me. Like, if I hadn't switched where I had, it could have worked.
That's cool though.
And I panicked, and it cost me the run. And so I moved on and began a Gen 5 Nuzlocke. But let's talk about one of your points.
Dang. It's like a ongoing saga, man. It's like you got to get through my yapping to get to your story of what's
No.
happening in your Nuzlocke.
I just have much less interesting stuff and much less variety in what I can talk about.
Do you remember that I spoke about this game in length during the Herschel Game Awards, Grand Blue Fantasy Relink,
Uh-huh.
the action adventure kind of Monster Hunter like a little bit, but not really, kind of ish maybe. I thought that game was dead. And here's the thing. They put out additional content announcement. Did you know this?
I did not know this.
Yeah, they announced it. It was a couple months ago, a few months ago, I can't remember. That they are adding content to it called Endless Ragnarok. I don't even know if I should categorize it as DLC because it's adding a lot to the existing game. Well, it's really cool. I watched the entire, direct or whatever you want to call it. They said that they were, you know, obviously moving on to the next game and stuff is always on the table and stuff, but there was so much feedback from the existing player base that they wanted to see more of this game, that they wanted a reason to keep playing. So they decided to just expand the game, which is really, really cool. It's developed by, I think they're called Psy Games, and they are adding. I'm so freaking hyped. Okay, here's the thing. So as soon as I heard about it, I just started playing the game again. And I have been on and off playing the game. Before I did the Ocarina of Time randomizer, I was playing Relink. After I finished Ocarina of Time randomizer, I'm playing Relink again. I'm basically, because like I haven't recruited all of the characters. I haven't played as all the characters, right? But like there's so much like materials and things to farm to get the optimal weapon and the setup and the items and whatever, right? So like I'm going through this, grinding thing where like I'll just have like a YouTube video running or something, and then I'm just grinding out materials to like build out a specific character that I haven't played as before or something. And uh, but what they announced in this direct thing was they're adding uh two new characters. No, four new characters. They're adding four new characters, and then they're adding new game mechanics, summons that you can summon in the middle of battle, and they're adding more bosses and a whole new tier of like difficulty of quests and bosses, side quests kind of thing that you can clear. Obviously, that'll come with like additional materials and rewards and stuff. And there's more like ability and mechanics they're adding to the existing roster as well to like push their capabilities further on top of the new characters. And they're also adding this single player mode, kind of like a roguelike from what I can tell, where like every run is different. It's got this some kind of procedural generation kind of thing. And you clear these stages and enemies and bosses, and you can pick from different upgrades and stuff, right? And then once you get to the end, you get like just a whole bunch of rewards and things. So it's like it's a it's an additional way for you to be able to play the game and farm for materials and kind of keep things a little fresh, I think. The main downside with it is that for some reason it's single player only. I don't know why. Maybe there were difficulties to making it multiplayer, but uh, I was talking with Jordan about this, and Jordan said, I'm so disappointed because if that game mode could be multiplayer, I would be sold. I would be back in the game. But because it's single player only and I want to be able to play this game with you, but I can't play that game mode with you, like I'm not gonna come back to it, right? But anyway, but I'm just happy that I'm getting all this stuff to begin with. So like that's a whole new game mode. And then, dude, after that announcement dropped, like the last, I don't know, within the last few weeks, they've been dropping these like new, informational like videos on YouTube. And I watched one and they just straight up announced more bosses. Like they had this like video, like, introduction of these like two bosses. One of them kind of looks like Pepsi Man, which I kind of thought was funny. And 2 more playable characters. So now there's 6 confirmed playable characters that are being added. And that is like huge, dude. Huge. I'm so freaking hyped for this game. I'm so sad because nobody I know plays this game. So I just play it by myself. I'm literally in like the Relink Discord group, which is really robust, thankfully. So like when I need to like beat certain bosses and farm materials, but I can't do it on my own, I'll post in there for like help, and then like a few guys will like come and help me out with a few bosses. But like I just want to play this game with people. So like, guys, if you like action adventure, look up Grand Blue Fantasy Relink, please, please. Okay, because it's really fun. Just check it out. It's so good. Every review that I've watched of this game just sings praises to it because the combat mechanics and everything is just, it's so freaking good. And let me know because I would love to play this game with you. I just want somebody I know in my circle of influence to play this game so that I can play with them rather than random people on Discord. But it is what it is. I guess it's kind of niche. I don't know. Anyway, that's all I got.
That's dope, man. No, it's always great when a great game gets, massively expanded content. That's big news, man.
Yeah.
I'm excited for you. I hope that some of our lovely listeners decide to play with you. I can't. I don't have a PC, so we can't be playing.
Oh, I forgot. The game is coming to Xbox, Switch 2. Cross-platform multiplayer. Bro, I know everybody listening. Most of you've got a PS4 or a PS5 or a Switch 2. I don't think it's coming to the original Switch. I don't think the original Switch can quite handle it, but Steam, you can play this game. It's coming. It's in I think June, sometime June is when it's gonna drop, and it's cross-platform everywhere. Isn't that beautiful? Right now, it's only on PlayStation and Steam, and you can't crossplay, but you can totally crossplay on this. And if you're playing the Nintendo Switch 2 version, you can also just do like local wireless too, like multiplayer that way. You don't have to go online. Like, it's just, oh.
So some of y'all should play with SJ.
Yeah.
Be fun.
Like, I play this game on my Steam Deck all the time. Somebody else could play with me on their Switch too. Anyway, what is the continuation of your Nuzlocke adventure?
So I decided, what game have I not really given a fair enough chance in the past? So I decided to do a Gen 5 game. But Pokemon Black and White's regional dex is very famously known as being locked to only Pokemon that were introduced in that generation before you beat the champion. Once you beat the champion, it opens up. You can catch all the others. But for the sake of a Nuzlocke, right, like that doesn't really matter. And I didn't love that idea because I have been a vocal part of the community that doesn't love a lot of the Gen 5 designs. So I said, okay, but I'll play the sequels because the sequels, while they still have a lot of those Pokemon, they're definitely still the most common. It at least gives you the option and the chance to have some of the other Pokemon that I would love to use on a run like this. So I played Pokemon White 2. And I will say, this game is actually a lot shorter than I think the other ones. Like, the stuff in between gyms doesn't take nearly as long. There isn't nearly as much sidetracking stuff as there are in other Pokemon games. Mm-hmm. So that's actually pretty cool. And I will say, this run, I got incredibly lucky on my encounters. To where I had my starter. The third Pokemon I got was a Magnemite. Steel and Electric's a really good typing for Nuzlockes. My fourth encounter was a Zubat that evolved to a Crobat very carefully. And let me just say, having a Magneton and a Crobat on a team is low-key a hack because they complement each other so well. when you send a Magneton out, it's gonna bait the ground type move.
Yep.
You just pivot to Crobat, and between Poison Flying and Steel Electric, you're either super effective offensively or defensively resistant to, I think, every single type except for Dragon in the Gen 5 games. I think that's the only typing that between those two, you aren't either having their damage to you or you're able to be super effective against them. So it's just an insane combo. Like you can and they carried me so much, and it made the game actually a lot easier than I thought it would be. I also had a Crocodile that had Moxie, so if he could, which is, every time you kill a Pokemon, your attack stat gets boosted in the fight.
Yeah.
And so if he's able to take out like the first Pokemon, then like he'll just sweep the rest of the fight because the attack gets boosted automatically, and he already has really high attack, and he's really fast. So I went through that one, and those three like carried me through that game, man. And it went really, really quickly. I made it to the with speed up assisted, of course, but like I made it to right before the Elite Four within like 12 hours. Like it was so fast. But right before you go to the Elite Four, similar to Pokemon Platinum, your rival appears out of nowhere and challenges you to a fight.
Oh no.
And I had been so careful. I'd been using my calculator. I'd been tracking things throughout the entire time. But at this point I was like, psh, all right, we just got the Elite Four left. Let me get there, and then I'll create the line to get through that. And didn't realize that fight was coming up. And got destroyed. That rival has a Pokemon called a Bouffalant, which is like the big buffalo one.
Oh.
Which had coverage to take out both my Crobat and my Magneton. And this was also 100% user error. Like if I had been paying attention, I would have known that fight was coming. Could have prepped, maybe, could have been okay. But also there was a part where I was looking, because I had my Magneton out, and Bouffalant had either a fighting type or a fire type to take out Magneton, and it was going to take him out. So I was like, okay. And I checked to see what it could do against Crobat, and was looking at the percentages, and all of them, it was a safe switch, right? And Crobat could outspeed and then kill. But I think what happened was I didn't actually click on Crobat because I was like so casual and like, oh, this game has been so easy. I think I clicked on a different Mon and didn't realize that this Bouffalant had rock coverage. So I switched to Crobat and didn't realize that it had a rock move and switched into it, and that Crobat just got absolutely wrecked. And then I didn't have any coverage to handle the rest of it. So again, 100% user error, probably could have been avoided, but lost at the fight right before the Elite Four, which again, I'm like, as much fun as I had on this run, one, I think it was only so fun because I was so lucky and had such a strong team. Like before that Elite Four, or before that rival fight, I had 2 deaths the entire run. I made it through with only 2 lost Mons. And I was just like, man, like, and that game specifically is known to have like a fairly easy Elite Four and Champion run. The Champion can be a little tricky, but the Elite Four isn't hard. It's a Ghost, a Dark, a Fighting, and a Psychic. So if you have a Dark type, that takes out the Psychic and the Ghost automatically.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have something to take care of the Dark, and Fighting, there's a lot of options to take out a Fighting type. So like, it wouldn't have been hard to finish it, but I was like, it's not worth it to play through the entire game again. So I lost that run too. I have run 4 Nuzlockes in the last month or so. Have only won 1 of them, and 2 of them have been lost within the last 5 fights of the game. Completely my fault. Completely me thinking that I am smarter than the game, or that I don't need to be paying attention, and this is what happens. But do not fret, for my Nuzlocke journey is not yet over. Because I decided, you know what? You know what I need? A lot of my mistakes have been because the games have been easy for a long time, and so I get like really complacent. Which is not a matter of me. It's 100% that I get lucky with certain encounters and stuff. It's not that I'm this genius Nuzlocker. I'm not trying to come across as arrogant or anything. But I need a game that keeps the challenge like ramped up throughout the
Just a
entire run
consistent difficulty.
to like keep me on my toes and make sure that I'm taking my time, because that's what made my platinum run so successful. Is like every single fight, and I was sending you my notes on my
Oh
plans
my
to get through
gosh.
gym leaders.
He would send me just full blown write ups of how he's gonna clear a gym. It was impressive.
It would be this amount of lead. It would get this amount of damage done to it. This is how many hits it would take. Because this is the move that I used to kill that Pokemon, this is what the next Pokemon baited out would be. Like, it was very in-depth, and I was not doing that with these other runs. So I was like, I need a game that's going to challenge me like that, and that's going to make me feel like I need to be prepared like that. So I downloaded an enhancement ROM hack of Pokemon Platinum, actually, because at this point I was getting kind of fledged out, and I was like, I know I just played through Platinum, but if there's any region that's going to get me to do one final Nuzlocke run, it would be the Sinnoh region, like it just is. And so I downloaded Renegade Platinum, which is made by a ROM hacker named Drayano, and have been going through, and I'm just about to take on the first gym. I'll be doing that tonight after this episode, and we'll see how it goes.
So is this like a modified difficulty kind of situation where it's like still like relatively balanced? It's not crazy, but it's
a lot more of the fights. Like, you're never going to come across people that just have, like, 2 Zubats that have, like, Astonish, and that's, like, their only attacking move. Like, every trainer fight has at least a somewhat competent Pokemon. But for the most part, because of how the level caps are adjusted... Oh, and I should also mention with this specific hack, I decided to do what all the streamers do and just have infinite rare candy so that I don't have to spend time grinding.
Yeah.
So in return, I make myself do every fight on the route. Like, optionals, like I make myself do as a way to kind of like get the goblin off my shoulder that I'm making it too easy on myself. But for example, every single gym leader has a full team of 6 Pokemon, which is not normally the case. And this first gym leader, his highest level Pokemon is 1 level above what it normally is. The next split, I think, is 2 levels above, and it kind of goes throughout that to where the Elite Four and Champion fight, I think, is all purely level hundreds. But at the same time, that's what your Pokemon will be at, so you should be okay. So yeah, I'm excited. I don't know, like, say I go home and lose this gym fight. I don't know if I have it in me to restart and go again.
Yeah.
I think I'll definitely reach a certain point in the game, and I would imagine it's probably around the halfway mark. If I make it that far and then lose the run, like, I think that'll probably just be it at that point. But I'm excited to see if I can go one more time, because I've heard that as far as enhancement hacks go, this one isn't too bad, but it is still like a noticeable step up from the base game.
Yeah.
Which I'm like, I feel like that's kind of where my skill level's at. Like, I've shown that I can do a vanilla game if I have the discipline for it. So let's take it just a step above, just barely, and see.
It'll probably be more engaging for you, right? Just like consistently.
I mean, I ran into a fighter in a cave right before that had a Diglett and I want to say a Sunkern that was really, really buffed. And like, yeah, like it took me like 3 minutes, like messing around in the calculator to find like a clean line through that, you know, even with crits would still work and would keep all the Pokemon in my party alive. So it's been fun so far. We'll see how it goes.
Are you looking up like data on the game so like you know what their team is going to be? Like, it's not like a blind run, right? Because like,
oh no, like,
there's probably no way you'd be able to beat it.
I always have the trainers' names in the order that they come up with, and before I go into the fight, I look at the team to make sure.
Nice.
If I was one of the streamers that's like okay doing 10, 20, 30 attempts on it, I might consider doing a blind run, but
right.
I think there's too much that's changed in the fact that so many different types of Pokemon are used.
And you don't get paid to
I don't
do runs back to back.
I don't make thousands of dollars a month, you know, streaming Pokemon Nuzlockes, and shout out to the people that do, because I mean, Peachow alone, bro, like those daily uploads on Peachow Daily, you're getting me through some stuff. I love watching you run through Platinum Kaizo. But anyway,
that's awesome, man.
There you go.
Good stuff.
You don't have anything else you want to talk about on this episode?
No.
Okay, I have one thing real quick.
Okay.
What's going on with Crimson Desert?
I know this moment of accountability would come, and I just wanted to say that I am sorry. But here's my reality right now. My wife is pregnant, and she is well into her second trimester, but she's still throwing up constantly. She's just feeling nauseous all the time. And for some reason, this translates to being really needy. She wants my attention all the time. We finish dinner and she's like watching anime or psych or whatever on the couch, on the TV. And she doesn't want me to sit here. She wants me to be on the couch next to her all the time. So this means like 90% of my, not even that, 99% of my gaming has been on my Steam Deck.
Okay.
And so Crimson Desert has been completely out of the picture for the last several weeks, a while. So I haven't dropped it. I definitely intend on coming back to it. Just kind of, it all just depends on my wife.
No, I totally get it.
So
That's actually like not in the same way at all because obviously like Liv and I are not pregnant and not having to deal with that, which, by the way, is very exciting.
Yeah.
I don't think we've talked about that on the podcast yet, so
I guess not, huh?
boom, there you go.
Yeah.
Super exciting, but like no, similarly, right? Like I haven't been playing because I could play Pokemon just on my own. I don't need a dedicated screen to it. And now that Liv's graduated, and she is working, she is subbing right now, which has been good. But that does mean that when she is home, she kind of gets like priority on the TV. And she doesn't have a game that she is playing through right now. She actually just finished 100%ing Mario Odyssey, which she stole from me, by the way. I actually started playing Mario Odyssey first, and then she started playing it, and she got farther than me, and I got frustrated and stopped playing. Which is a great game, by the way. Y'all should go play Mario Odyssey. But no, so she's similarly just been like it's not an option because the setup required to play Crimson Desert. There's just other things that keep me from being able to use that right now. And I think but I think that's okay because I'm not like the game is not. It's fun for me to play combat wise, and I never have a bad time when I play it. But it's also not a game where like say this had been happening when I was playing Expedition 33, and I might have lost my mind. I might have been like, no, like you got to give me some time.
Yeah.
And like this game does not have that type of hold on me where it's like I can step away from it and come back and still have a good time, but there isn't that innate like
it's not as addicting.
Not
as
nearly
the way
right.
Expedition 33 was. I totally agree. I feel the exact same way.
Nice.
Yeah. So,
well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for listening and or watching. We would like to give, as always, a very special shout out to all of you, but specifically our Patreon viewers. We're very grateful for their extra and continued support. And we are going to be going ahead and
Alex, give them one good reason why they should sign up for Patreon if they haven't.
If they haven't?
Yeah. Like, no pressure, obviously, but like, why should people, what makes it worth it? Why should they do it?
I think our Patreon episodes are okay. If you enjoy like the very natural and casual vibe that we try to create here, I feel like that is most apparent in the Patreon episodes because in a lot of these episodes, it's like updates on what we're doing or reacting to news or wider stuff. And the Patreon episodes are a lot more low key in the fact that we just kind of choose the topic based off of what we're feeling. And so it is a lot more casual and at times a bit more digestible just because those episodes are a little bit briefer. So there's more of a focus and just kind of a natural feel to it, in my opinion.
I agree. And let me add to that. I feel really strongly about this, Kay. Today, there's an epidemic of attention deficit in general in the human race, right? You've got
Take that, humanity.
You've
What
got
you got?
Instagram Reels, you've got TikTok, all this short form content that is just like nagging for your attention and training your brain to only accept things that are just short and sweet and to the point and really fast and concise, and you're just going through doom scrolling, all this stuff, man. I do not like that. I do not subscribe to that. I do not think it's good for you. And part of why I strongly believe in our content is because we are quite literally the opposite of that, right? Like, I edit these podcast episodes and put some graphics and stuff to it for like the video version and whatnot, but like, it is pretty raw in terms of the output of the episodes that we create, and we strive to give you more of that through the Patreon, and I do feel really, really strongly about it. But to be honest, thank you for just listening and watching at all.
Also,
And
is the serial episode a Patreon episode?
the serial episode,
The serial episode
the
alone.
goated serial episode. Okay,
The serial episode alone is worth.
if you're a supporter
It's
right
worth
now and
checking
you
out.
haven't watched the serial episode, watch the serial tier list episode. It is so that's like top 3 most fun I've had recording.
One of the best
100%.
episodes we've ever
It's
made.
so freaking good.
It's crazy that an episode idea we came up with 10 minutes before recording has turned out to be one of our favorites.
It's so freaking fun.
It's very good.
And shout out, thank you to our existing supporters. We got our Down Earth Cockatiels, Joshua, Tyler, and Matthew, and our Down Earth Parakeets, Jay Maurer, Noah, and Qualthorn. Thank you very much, and we will talk to you next time.
Talk to you then.